Today I've come to the Clent Hills, which lie 10 miles southwest of Birmingham city centre. The closest towns are Stourbridge and Halesowen, both in the West Midlands conurbation. The hills are in the care of the National Trust, who have a visitor centre at Nimmings Wood car park on the slopes of Clent Hill, which is where I have parked my car and from where I have started my walk. The Clent Hills range consists of Wychbury Hill, Clent Hill and Adams Hill, and Walton Hill and Calcott Hill. They are a traditional bank holiday and Sunday afternoon destination for the people of Birmingham and the Black Country. Just under 1 million visitors a year are estimated to come to the hills, making them Worcestershire's most popular non-paying attraction. Emerging from the woods, I came out onto a broad path, briefly stopping at the first view of the day. I continued along the broad scenic ridge path to reach the 970-foot summit of Clent Hill, crowned by a triangulation pillar, toposcope and the 4 stones. Although they may look authentic, the 4 stones are not a prehistoric circle, but a folly, erected by Lord Lyttelton, an 18th century owner of nearby Hagley Hall. The views from here are superb. Well, I have absolutely no idea why they call this the 4 stones. What a place to blow the cobwebs away. I'll tell you, it's absolutely lovely up here. I walked over to the toposcope, and just beyond I marvelled at the views to the southeast, towards nearby Walton Hill and the countryside to the south. Returning to the 4 stones, I looked at the views over Wychbury Hill, where I could see other follies constructed by Lord Lyttelton, including the Mock Castle in Hagley Hall Park, and the Hagley Obelisk, also known as the Wychbury Obelisk, and locally as Wychbury Monument. I descended to a viewing area below the summit, from where I could enjoy more views of Wychbury Hill and the West Midlands conurbation beyond. Moving on from here, I had views towards the Shropshire Hills in the distance. I continued on my way along the ridge path, which was now heading gently down the slope on the southwest flank of Clent Hill. Well, this is my very first walk around the Clent Hills, an area I don't know at all. I think I spent a maximum of 1 hour here last year on my very first visit. Because remember, I was doing a bit of a whistle-stop tour, and I just sort of stopped at the Clent Hills for about an hour or so at the very most, on the way to other places. So this is my first proper day and a proper walk in the Clent Hills, and I like what I see so far. I descended to the village of Clent, where the path ended. This part is called Elms Hill, one of 5 hamlets in Clent. The others are Upper Clent, Lower Clent, Holy Cross and Walton Pool. Passing the blue telephone box, I bore slightly left along Mount Lane. At a road junction, I bore left again, and followed the lane for just over 1/4 mile to Upper Clent. St Leonard's Church was mostly rebuilt in the 19th century, but retains its 15th century tower. I decided to take a quick look inside. From the church, I took the lane signposted to Walton Pool, and after 1/4 mile, turned left through a wooden kissing gate. Heading diagonally across a field, I passed the edge of Walton Pool, and headed southeast as I continued to follow tracks and paths across fields. I hadn't actually heard of the Clent Hills until recently. I think during all my research online at looking at places to go, I was probably looking at Worcestershire and looking at other places to explore in the county, because I don't know the county at all, apart from the Walton Hills of course, but that's only in a very small part of the county. So I may have been watching a TV programme and it may have had something to do with Worcestershire, and the Clent Hills were mentioned. And I thought, well, where are the Clent Hills? So I just looked online and found where they were. So that's why I made my sort of very brief visit last year, where I stopped here for no more than an hour, and I thought, yeah, I like what I see. So that's why I've come here today, to explore them in more detail. And I'm enjoying it. And I can imagine that people that live in nearby Stourbridge or a lot of other places in the Birmingham conurbation, this must be a great place to come out and do a walk at weekends and stuff, and walk your dog. I've seen quite a lot of people already walking their dogs, quite a few runners, so yeah, a nice place to visit when you sort of live in the Birmingham area, I think. Eventually, after skirting around Calcott Farm, I found myself following a stretch of the North Worcestershire path. The well-defined path, which stayed above the top edge of sloping fields, was now taking a gentle climb up Calcott Hill. When the path exited the woods, I had picturesque views eastwards of nearby Bromsgrove Hill and Great Farley Wood. You know, doing this walk today just reinforces what a beautiful country we live in. Amazing. I've said this before, but if I don't go abroad ever again, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, because we've just got so much in our own country. And years ago, I used to travel to Stourbridge with a group of friends to see other friends that we had in Stourbridge. And we used to skirt around this area on the way to Stourbridge, and just never really sort of gave it a second thought. You know, it's just, but coming here today, just taking the time to explore more of the area, is lovely, and another place that I can tick off to say that I visited. What a wonderful place this is. I passed to the right of the farm to a kissing gate, turned left along a track to a North Worcestershire path marker post, and turned right across the open expanses of Walton Hill. At 1,037 feet above sea level, Walton Hill is the highest point in the Clent Hills. It is the highest point for 21 miles in all directions, and as such commands an excellent panorama. Well, I'm nearly at the summit of Walton Hill now.
can just see the triangulation point.
Leaving the main ridge and the North Worcestershire path, I bore slightly right near the triangulation point to descend steeply through trees. I crossed a track to reach a lane, which I followed northwards for a short way to a footpath sign on the right. I took this path, which slowly descended straight across a field. It was extremely slippery underfoot, but I was fine, as I was carefully watching my step. Climbing a stile in the bottom left-hand corner, I bore left along a lane, and turned left at the next junction to reach St Elms Church. St Elms Church, in the parish of Bromsgrove, dates mainly from the 12th century. It was built on the site of the legendary martyrdom of St Elm, a 9th century boy king of Mercia, who was allegedly killed on the orders of his sister. What an absolutely delightful little church. It really is worth stopping to look inside these churches, you know. They really are fantastic places. Continuing up Chapel Lane from the church, I took the first turning on the right, which would lead me back to where I started.
So, the Clent Hills, another place I've not heard of until very recently. It's getting windy, but I'm really glad I did this lovely walk today.